Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Today we have a rather more taboo, large-scale topic that I'll be discussing, and that is the topic of: is murder ever justifiable? So, to understand, kind of the idea behind murder is the act of taking away life form. Now, this could be in the form of human life, organismal life, animal life, mammalian life, any sort of deprivation of one's right to live. That is what we know murder is. Now, to understand some of the outliers of murder, we start with a particular case, which is known as the trolley car case. So picture this one day. You're a train conductor. You're flying down a railroad track 60 miles an hour. When you see straight ahead are 5 railroad workers. You quickly slam on the brakes, but you know that it's not going to be enough time to stop. So, you continue forward, accepting that you will kill 5 railroad workers. 5 different lives of unique meaning. One with possibilities of children, of job obligations, of importance to communities, whatever it may be. And just as you're about to continue forward on that railroad track, you see that you can make a choice. You can either turn down the road or this railroad track, because your steering wheel still works. And you could go another opposite direction on the railroad track. However, on the railroad track is just one singular worker. One singular worker who could also have a family or also have obligations he goes home to. Now you have this choice. Do you A, continue forward, or B, change direction, murdering one person? Now, how do we know what's the right thing to do? Now, if we take a moment to kind of debunk this and analyze it a little bit, one obvious reason that the majority of people would choose to go this side track, or the way of the one person, is because it's just that. It is a quantitative value. 1 to 5 ratio. One person with a unique life versus 5 people with a unique life. Now we have to ask ourselves, what difference does it make? Is there really a right thing to do? Is there a justifiable choice of the amount of people you murder? Now what if we add this into the scenario? The one person that you kill is a family man. A family's only source of income. 4 kids. A son. A loving, hard-working man. And these 5 other people have lived crime-riddled lives. One of them, stealing. The other, abandonment of his family. Another, alcohol abuse and abuse at home. The 4th one, theft again. And the 5th one, failure to pay his child support. Now you ask yourself, are those 5 people really worth more than the one good one? And that goes back to this idea of quantitative analysis. Trying to save the lives of more than just one. And the idea of sacrificing one to save the lives of others. Now, if we go by that reasoning, we change, and the majority becomes, you would choose the one person, the one good person, compared to the 5 bad people. But then, we go back into the same circle. What makes it right to murder those 5 people than just the one person? And the simple reason is, they're 5 bad people. Well, if we go back to the beginning, and the majority of you would choose to kill the one singular person, we see a similar reasoning. That's just one person compared to 5. That means we should make the sacrifice of one to save the lives of 5. Now it's the same concept. We sacrifice the lives of 5 bad people to save the life of one good one. So how do we know what's right? And that's a topic we can discuss. Is there really a universal action that is justifiable here? Then the question is, what makes it justifiable? Looking into another scenario, picture yourself as a doctor, an accomplished surgeon, and one day at work, we're going to use COVID-19 as an example. 6 patients, each suffering from COVID-19, 1 severe, and 5, if left unattended, could lead to severe and fatal conditions. Now the question I have for you is, do you A, focus on that one severe person, ultimately leading to the death of 5 others? Or B, focus on the 5 others and sacrifice the one? Now it's the same concept as what we just discussed in the trolley car. An overwhelming majority would most likely choose to save the 5 people, because it's a larger number. Now we add context into this. The one person is an evil man, convicted of assault, domestic abuse, theft, and multiple felonies. However, in this context, these 5 individuals are made up of 3 good people and 2 harmful ones. Now this makes it a little more complex to decide if the lives of one has significant value over 5, or the lives of 5 have significant value over 1. And that is the comparison that we struggle to make. And that's a big outline in murder. What gives someone the right to deprive another of their life? And what consequence should they face? Now, building off that, we talk about the idea of death row. Now, death row is a place set for convicted murderers, typically of a severe amount of murders, in which they will be put to death in a humane way. Now we have to ask ourselves, is this justifiable? And the overwhelming majority of the population would say yes, it is. Now, this is totally built off the idea of the eye for an eye theory that stems from the Code of Hammurabi. So, originally, in the original transcription of the Code of Hammurabi, the beginning was that if a man put out the eye of another man, his eye shall be put out as well. So after further analysis, the phrase was coined as an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Now this means that whoever committed an injury, or in this case murder, should be punished in the same manner as that murder or injury. Now this led to what we call today criminal and civil law. So a common example we see when it comes to civil law is that if a son were to hit his father, then his hands should be cut off. Now, this can be settled civilly. Now, we also go into the idea that if a man builds a house badly, and it falls, and it kills the owner, then the builder should be killed. Now, if the owner's son was killed, then the builder's son is killed. So this is what we build off as eye for an eye. If one takes the life of another, his life should be taken. That's what this theory says. Is this a case where it's justifiable? Just because one deprived another of a life, does that mean we should take his? And as I mentioned before, the overwhelming majority would say, yes, we should. Now, various laws have come into fruition that prevent the same ways someone has murdered someone else. Now we talk about a particular case, the Menendez brothers. Now, for a little bit of background on the Menendez brothers, these were two brothers who were molested for years of their lives. And in turn, this led to emotional trauma in which they ended up killing their parents. Now I want you to take a moment to think, was this the justifiable thing to do? Should they have been convicted? What makes this case different than that of a parent killing an intruder in their house? The Menendez brothers were assaulted. Their lives were intruded upon. And their lives were altered. Now, the one key point here is that neither one of them was murdered. Now, if we base this off the eye for an eye concept, as we discussed, should they be put to murder? If they robbed the lives of their parents, do we still have to punish them because of that? No matter the circumstance? Even though the circumstance is gruesome and led them to be filled with rage and trauma for lots of their lives, does that truly give them the right to murder their mother and father? Now I want you to think about this for a second. The acts of the Menendez brothers were gruesome. Multiple shotgun wounds to their parents' bodies, even after they were lifeless. a gruesome crime scene discovered. Now, even though this was motivated, does that mean the Menendez brothers should also be murdered in the same justifiable way? Or was it justified for them to kill their parents? And that was the end-all be-all. Now, one key concept of murder that does not go unnoticed is the self-defense ideology. And it's simple. If someone intrudes upon your house, we say, and you're a gun owner, and you see that this person is intruding upon your house, and you threaten them, but with no success, you then eject a bullet into their body to ward them off and defend what could be your family or just yourself. Now, in the process of you defending your family or yourself or your property, the intruder dies. Now, most would say this is justifiable, and understandably so. But we have to go back to that idea of the Code of Hammurabi. And it goes back to the ideology of someone breaking into your house. If we base it off the Code of Hammurabi and someone breaks into your house, instead of being able to break into their house, their life was taken. Now, does this mean it is justifiable to end it there? Does that mean the one who protected themselves or their family is freed from their convictions? This is a deep probing question, and it's complex to understand. But that is the open world view of murder. It is this abstract, gray area of life. Many are motivated to do it. Many are biologically dispositioned to do it. And it is hard to say if some actions of murder are justifiable, even if we outline many pros and cons. This is clearly seen through the Menendez brothers, through the Code of Hammurabi, the self-defense ideology, the trolley car ideology, and the doctor ideology. Now, it's important to understand that no life should carry value over the other, and one should not be deprived of life. But will it ever be justifiable to take away the life of another? One key concept in that ideology is if this person is a threat to society, such as a psychopath, serial killer. We see in movies all the time, such as Halloween, and we can use the gruesome monster that is Michael Myers as a main key point here. Now, Michael was deemed unfit for society. However, he wasn't to be murdered because he was to be studied first. And this outraged many because he was the source of many problems for family life, for setting apart others, and for taking lives so young. Now, if you ask me, this is a case of justifiable murder. A justification where the person is not meant to live in society. Now, maybe the right or wrong thing to say that, but if we outline the overall harm that was caused society by having the presence of by having, in this case, Michael Myers. We have no sense in keeping him in the society, which further alludes to the idea that murder can be justifiable under the right circumstances. So even though this is a complex topic, we can outline reasoning through it and try to understand what justification means and what criteria goes into that. And it may never be solved. And that's something we can learn over the years, or maybe something we'll never find out. But I hope my insight and wisdom was interesting and provided a new way to think about the topic and to update your mind. So, I appreciate you taking time to listen with me, and I hope you enjoyed today's topic, and I shall be coming out with more in the next couple weeks. And I hope you stay tuned listening.